It will come online, and this is actually a current political issue when it comes online, but it'll come online in your lifetime, and probably in the next decade or so. So that's where we're going. We will make fusion power. It will be a reality in 10 to 15 years. We will have made fusion power at a scale equivalent to what you need to build a reactor. Where we're doing right now, in the meantime, ITER is this huge project, and we participated in this at Princeton. But we're also trying to think of ways, what's going to come after that. We're not building, we're not there, we're here, and we have a very active research program. And we're trying to come up with the solution for, okay, so this experiment will last for 400 seconds. It'll make, show we can do it. How are we going to turn that into electricity? What's the way we're going to go to the next step? Will it be just like that one, but bigger, or with different walls, or something like that? Maybe we'll change some of the details. Or maybe we'll switch to this other idea, which I work on, called the stellarator. But we're just working on that now, while we're supporting this ITER activity. So, at PPL, we have currently a very large experiment. It's called the National Spherical Torus Experiment, which is actually a tokamak, just like ITER is, but it's a different shaped tokamak. Its goal is to try to see if you can make a smaller version of this device rather than this enormous thing, to try to get the unit cost down. We're hopeful that actually, ITER is the first of a kind. It's the first device. The number of firsts on ITER is enormous. It'll have the largest magnet ever built. It'll have the largest vacuum system ever built. It'll be the first fusion reactor ever built. It uses more tungsten in one place than I think any other object has ever. It's lining the walls with tungsten. There's a huge number of technological developments that have created new industries. The superconducting magnets alone have created a couple new industries. But we want to know what to do next. So we have an activity at the lab. So the National Spherical Torus Experiment is a $60 million per year activity. We hire all sorts of people to work on that device. We have technicians, we have scientists, we have engineers, we have welders, we have vacuum specialists. We do all sorts of things. So all of that, of course, goes into the community. Right? 90% of our activity is paychecks. Right? So people go out and they spend that money. But also we train people in essentially every trade, right? Because we do things with electrical power that's really pretty atypical. We have huge power supplies to run our magnets. We have gigantic vacuum systems. We build big steel vessels, and something like 11 million of that money per year goes into contracts just in New Jersey alone. So we have a huge benefit to the community, both through direct paychecks, contracts to the local businesses, that in particularly manufacturing, but also we train people to do high-tech trades. We have welders that are best in the world class welders because they need to be to make the welds that we need. So, and in fact, actually, this is government investment in research is supporting community development, supporting industry development, and in particular, hopefully, this will also lead to this benefit of available energy that's carbon-free and waste-free. In general, government development has historically had this role of stimulating research that then benefits businesses. Some examples are, I noticed none of you are on your cell phones, but the internet, for example, was invented by the government. In fact, I was one of the first users of the internet. There was one of the first available non-classified versions of the internet was called the Magnetic Fusion Energy Net, or MFE net, and I used that in the 80s. So this is the magnetic fusion endeavor was the first non-military application of the internet. The World Wide Web, of course, was also, that's not the same as the internet, in case you didn't know. It was also invented it was actually invented in Europe, but was on a project that was jointly funded between the US and Europe. There are a lot of examples here of things that were invented essentially as a direct result of government investment in research and development. This is one of the things that Andrew really likes to talk about. He wrote the manual on. And the reason is because it's important to acknowledge that these are the kind of things that really, frankly, private industry can't afford. We spend hundreds and hundreds of millions on research that some of it goes nowhere, right? And that's not a good business model. But it is pretty good investment for the country, right? For the community and for the state. You can make the list as enormous, the transistor. Okay. That was invented at Bell Labs. Bell Labs is essentially a government-funded research activity. It's run by, just so you know, I don't work for the government. I work for Princeton University. I'm glad to hear the person who writes my paycheck is in the audience, so I hope I'm doing a good job. And so the government typically funds research through private entities or through maybe public universities also. And they do not manage it directly themselves because I think they recognize that it's not their forte, right? So they typically leave the management of research to universities or companies that have a research tendency. And they give out grants and contracts to those companies or universities. And that mechanism has worked in this country since really, it started really in World War II. That's where the real model was developed, when we started funding, government research invented radar. Government research invented pretty much everything that you think of as modern technology, with some exceptions, or private investment. Like airplanes were invented by the Wright brothers, and they were just playing in the garage. But frankly, everything after that, there's these companies called Boeing and Lockheed. They have some relatively large contracts. So that kind of development is really crucial to the, the list is really long here. I'm not going to read them all because it just goes on. There's the Human Genome Project, pretty much everything to do with biotech drug development came. There's lots of research done in the private industry as well, but typically the basis research was done by government-funded research. Water purification, Bell Labs, I think I did that one starting off. Johnson & Johnson receives quite a bit of NIH funding to do medical device research. So, and PPL is part of that process. We work hard. We try to come out, and we like to. It's always a pleasure for me to come and talk to normal people. I normally talk to people who not only don't wear ties, but they often wear sandals. So my boss wears sandals to work. So it's always a pleasure to come out and talk to people who live normal lives. But I really feel very fortunate to be able to do the job I do. We try to recognize the fact that we are funded by the goodwill of the public through your generous contributions to the taxes of the United States. I think it's a great job and it's a great activity. And I want to encourage people. PPL is an open institution. We have tours. All you got to do is go to our website, it's pppl.gov. And you can sign up for a tour. You can come see our facilities. You can see, if you get lucky, you can go see the big machines too if they're open. Right now, that's operating. So, and maybe I'll be your tour guide if I get assigned with that job. So, I want to thank you for your attention.
Do some Q&As too if you want to do it too.
Yeah. So actually, I should have said you could interrupt me anytime. And I was going to actually tell you if I slipped into acronyms or scientific speak, interrupt me. Feel free, but. I just want to thank you all for giving me the chance to come here and speak. So. Go ahead.
The tokamak reactor in the south of France that will go online.
What happens to the $20 to $40 billion facility once it has succeeded in proving what it does?
Well, my curiosity is the energy it will create, is that going to be more than the energy it takes to get it going?
How long, you're saying it's bursts of 400 seconds. Is this experiment going to last a day, 2 days, 3 days?
All of us in the room have seen our businesses change as a result of the information systems and the microchip. Have you seen that same occur within your technology? Is AI something that you're using more and more of?
Is there such a thing? Is it dangerous in any sense at all?
Are you helping the community to understand, you know, is there tourism up, is there tourism down? Or are you working with them to make sure
So
that if someone wanted to come there, they would know what's going on?
This is obviously an enormous facility. Assume that the experiments are successful. How does one then translate that into something that's commercially usable to actually generate electricity in the real world?